Mentorship and hands-on activities are critical for engaging Native American students in post-secondary education and for providing these students with tools for a successful university experience. As university instruction went online 1 year ago due to the COVID-19 pandemic, laboratories and experiential learning instructors encountered an extra set of issues. We had to ask ourselves, should we cancel our hands-on activities or adapt to an often intangible online format? About mentorship programs designed to match first-generation and Native American students with mentors and the broader resources of the university. Many university instructors quickly adapted to the pandemic by incorporating online teaching in the spring of 2020 semester. Utah State University is already very familiar with distance learning, its first online course being offered more than 25 years ago. Yet, there was a new challenge for an important summer mentor program, the Native American Summer Mentorship Program, which is typically offered in person at the main Logan campus. In existence since 2014, the Native American Summer Mentorship Program provides an opportunity for Native American students enrolled at the USU statewide campuses to spend a month at the Logan campus. Professors create week-long labs for these students in the STEM fields designed to help the students experience life in Logan, a college city that is larger than many communities outside of the Salt Lake area. The Native American Summer Mentorship Program introduces students to future mentors for forthcoming semesters. Here in this presentation, we illustrate our approach to the 2020 virtual Native American Summer Mentorship Program through our Water Heritage Anthropological Project, a multidisciplinary project that looks at water features through the lens of archaeological, archival, geographical, and anthropological data. The authors were joined by 2 undergraduate students completing their associate's degree at USU Blanding and who are both members of the Navajo Nation. We show that the virtual Water Heritage Anthropological Project is a way to integrate students who are located far away from a researcher's laboratory on campus. This is an especially important adaptation for anthropology and archaeology, fields that are built around face-to-face interactions and material culture. Here we show how labs can be adapted to an online format and that they will be vital for future research teaching techniques in the coming months or even years. In fact, our team continues today to meet and conduct our research virtually. This approach is particularly useful for campuses with statewide locations and online degree programs for engaging students in virtual or remote research beyond the pandemic. A key goal for our involvement with Native American Summer Mentorship Program is to connect Native students to STEM labs that are sometimes unfamiliar to Native students, with a focus on archaeological research. Participating in the Native American Summer Mentorship Program provides benefits on multiple levels. Mentees gain access to STEM education, knowledge, and transferable research skills through their participation in the month-long program with various labs. Mentors in the research team gain exposure to diverse perspectives and an opportunity to foster cultural competency, create inclusive research teams. The institution sees student success and retention rates increase, growth in impactful research programs, and increased Native student participation in STEM fields across colleges. Finally, our partnership with the program is a small step toward including Native voices in archaeological research. A growing body of work in archaeology recognizes long-standing failures to fully engage Native peoples in research and systemic issues that marginalize Native communities. Our approach to the summer labs includes open dialogue between mentors and mentees and a commitment to engagement in the research process, where Native students have the ability to contribute meaningfully to the research goals and direct their research efforts based on their interests and lived experiences. The USU Museum of Anthropology undertook previous face-to-face versions of the Native American Summer Mentorship Program from 2016 to 2019, where students contributed to archaeological documentation along the Transcontinental Railroad in western Utah. During the earlier labs, Native students participated in fieldwork, archival research, material culture documentation, and outreach. Our challenge this year was to create a virtual space where Native students could participate in STEM education and research that also met student needs for accessibility, comfort, and engagement. While the data collection and instruction delivery were different, our learning objectives persisted. The Water Heritage Anthropological Project engages STEM research and education across a number of dimensions, including 3D visualizations, built environment studies, and especially through spatial temporal interpretations of past behavior and landscapes. Much of the WHAP research takes place in the traditional laboratory space on campus, a lab filled with undergraduate and graduate students engaged in data collection, analysis, and discussion with mentors. Our initial plan was to offer this opportunity to the two mentees using the facilities at the Logan campus. However, remote instruction required a redesign of our week-long lab. Consequently, we met Monday through Friday virtually using Zoom, with labs running from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day. Each remote lab built upon one another and explored the 5 research dimensions of our project. We divided the day into 3 segments. From 9 to 11 a.m., we held discussions and instructions on the day's topic. Midday consisted of independent work sessions where students completed research tasks, and then at 3 p.m. we would regroup via Zoom to discuss outcomes. We identified several key takeaways from the remote Water Heritage Anthropological Labs. First, take time and establish the culture for the lab, including rules of participation. Engagement is critical in any learning environment and can be difficult to master in remote settings. Reliable internet is necessary for virtual format of delivery at all locations. Unstable connections lead to participation with only audio at best, and at worst, an inability to connect. We found engagement to be optimal when all participants were able to connect with both audio and video streams. However, we needed to prepare and deliver the lab under less than ideal situations, and when video streaming was not possible for all participants. We relied on approaches such as participant call-out, round-robin responses, note-taking guides, and material culture prompts. Our lab facilitated learning for only a couple of students and did not need to rely on additional tools. A larger lab class may wish to develop a protocol for discussions that define the use of discussion rooms, a dedicated facilitator to monitor participants while the discussant in lecture shares content, and clear expectations for how to participate using tools within the virtual meeting like raise hand, polling, and the chat. Structure contributes to learning outcomes. Keeping the day well scheduled with some time for individualized work fosters independence and agency, but expectations of work must be well articulated. The implemented activity for the archival lab, for example, did not meet our expectations when designing the lesson. A potential improvement could have been to have the students repeat the demonstrated task with mentors before moving to those independent work sessions in the midday. Additionally, after completing labs, we recommend for future virtual labs that expectations of time per task be provided to students to aid in structuring that independent time, as well as emphasizing how their work would be incorporated into the research project. Prior students' contributions from the 2016 to 2019 labs seemed more apparent and acknowledged by the mentees. The virtual format produced a distance that we as mentors did not fully bridge in communicating the importance of the 2020 mentees' work for our own research. Third way, identify that scaffolding content and active learning reinforces research concepts. From the onset of the Water Heritage Labs, we wish to share with the mentees all aspects of our research project, including data collection, manipulation, analysis, visualization, and outreach. Therefore, it was imperative that the design of the lab and the individual daily tasks build upon one another. Each student was assigned a water feature during the geospatial lab day and continue to research, document, and visualize that feature through our archives and public outreach labs. While condensed, this format follows the overarching trajectory for the Water Heritage Anthropological Project, and we felt we were successful. One mentee recalls of her experience: we learned how to enter data into a spreadsheet, visualize data, conduct interviews, do archival research, and present our findings to the public. She also mentioned that her participation in these activities throughout the weeks shed light on our project objectives, where she identified that the project is strongly committed to growing a conservation ethic and that shared cultural experiences contribute to a sense of place and communal identity. Her statements reflect mastery of the learning objectives that we hoped the mentees would achieve. Finally, design with accessibility and multiple platforms in mind. Students access digital content from a myriad of devices, including smartphones, laptops, and tablets. Each device presents an accessibility challenge that must be planned for when designing a remote research environment. Knowing that students may use different devices depending on the task is important when considering how to engage students in the research process. For example, a smartphone may be well suited for video conferencing for meetings and interviews, but will present challenges for data entry and report generation. You may have to work with students who only have access to one type of device, and therefore tasks may need to be assigned based on access to technology. In conclusion, we want to observe that during periods of remote learning, such as the current COVID-19 pandemic, teachers, scholars, and students must adapt to changing conditions. USU's long offered remote learning options, yet the pandemic presented new challenges for mentorship in field sciences such as archaeology. The Native American Summer Mentorship Program is a critical resource for Native American students at Utah State University, and while in-person mentorship is always preferable, we show it is possible through the virtual Water Heritage Labs to connect these students to STEM learning centers. Our example demonstrates that we can offer students research opportunities delivered in a remote format and continue our mission of a student-centered university with a focus on academics, diversity of thought, and service to the public. The virtual labs that our team developed created a space for mentorship by the research team for the two Native student mentees. It connected the students to research in our labs and fostered a relationship between the students and the Logan campus. The key takeaways outlined here provide a roadmap for refinement of our remote research. Our remote research has continued with undergraduate anthropology majors and graduate students in archaeology throughout the summer, fall, and winter, where we have conducted over 25 virtual ethnographic interviews, archival research, and geospatial analyses. Our week-long curriculum is provided on the project website so that it may be adapted to other remote teaching and research options. Similar initiatives will be important for remote learning contexts, whether for students living in rural settings or for others hoping to participate in anthropological research from afar.